Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and today we're doing the third part of the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough. So after getting a little bit of feedback, I decided to do the commentary for this game, and hopefully I can do commentary on the rest of it. The first two parts don't actually have commentary. They probably don't really need that much commentary anyways, but hopefully the rest of it will. It'll be a little bit of a challenge though, because I've heard this game is 30 plus hours long, so that's a hell of a lot of commentary. But we'll see how much I can struggle through. We'll see how much stuff I actually have to say. For the most part, here we are in the Crystal Temple. The most part of this video is just me cleaning it out. Fighting a few fights, cleaning it out. There's a boss at the end, and it wraps up the prologue. So this is the end of this section of the game. If you're playing the iOS version, this is the end of the free piece of the game, and you have to buy the rest of the chunks after this. If you're playing on the Android version, like I am, you bought the whole damn game for $20, and so you'll continue on to Chapter 1 for the price that's already been paid. For the most part, you'll be auto-attacking, or you should be at least, at this point in the game, and that's because everybody's still jobless. Everybody's still getting that unemployment check at this point. No jobs are given until Chapter 1, so yeah, there's not really... Everybody's got kind of a couple extra skills, like you can tell one guy was kind of set up to be the monk, one guy was kind of set up to be the warrior, based on their skills. But for the most part, you're just going to be fighting, and the guys with white magic will do a little bit of healing. It just makes sense to put swords on everybody and just auto-attack for this portion of the game. It kind of actually bummed me out when I had heard about how the iOS version was being done, and with the prologue, and then to find out there's no job variety, because to me, a large piece of the allure of this game is that job system. And to say, here you go, here's the free piece, this is your demo of the game, but you don't get to use the job system, that was kind of, I don't know, fundamentally stupid. That's just my opinion, but it would have been good for them to actually give you a piece of the game where you got to see what the game was actually like. Lots of random encounters. I found that to be kind of a drawback in some of these dungeons. It seems like just 5 steps, new encounter. 5 steps, new encounter. Having the auto attack is really nice, but it might make the walkthrough a little bit bland, because I do auto attack in quite a bit of it. I find though that as I progress through the game, which I haven't actually beaten this game yet, as I progress through the game, I'm using auto attack less and less, because I have to use more diverse strategies on the harder enemies. Speaking of diverse strategies, this jelly actually requires that you don't use physical attacks, you have to use magic. And it doesn't matter which kind you use can use fire, blizzard, or thunder, so you can burn him, freeze him, or throw sound at him. Because that's what thunder does. Thunder is not lightning. I think somebody mixed that up. You know, come to think of it, I think someone mixed that up in every Final Fantasy game. They always assume that thunder is electricity, but thunder is just the sound that associates with lightning. That's kind of messed up. But then again, Guile in Street Fighter, he throws Sonic Boom, and that's like thunder, but it kind of comes out like a fiery lightning ball too. I think people in video games are very confused about thunder and lightning. Seems a very fundamental concept, and I'm kind of surprised that I've never thought about this until just now. So I've had my original thought for the day. Done. Nonetheless, I think this game really has done a very good job of bringing that old school Super Nintendo 16-bit feeling back. The story, it might not be as strong as Final Fantasy 6 and 4, which in the US or in the West, I think in Europe as well, they're titled 2 and 3. The story might not be that strong to that level. It's still a pretty good story, and the gameplay, I would say, is just as good as those games. It really takes me back. This game really takes me back. It does what it's trying to achieve, and that's to be a nostalgic JRPG in the 16-bit fashion. This has accomplished that goal. So here we go, save spot, getting ready for the boss. It's a good idea to use a tent here if you need to. If you are low on magic points, you will need magic for the boss, especially with Elgo, the red mage, and that's because he has access to tier 2 spells. Alright, so here is the crystal. I should also mention that throughout this walkthrough, even though I'm doing all this commentary, I'm going to try not to give spoilers, but you're watching a freaking walkthrough, so you're going to get some spoilers. I'll try not to reveal too much of the story through my comments here before it actually happens on the screen. But because you're watching a walkthrough, it is kind of a no-holds-barred approach. You're going to get spoilers. Alright, so boss fight. Now, the trick with this boss is that he's weak against fire. So you really want Elgo to use every one of his turns to cast Fira, because he's the only character on your team that actually has Fira. Anybody who has access to white magic, which I think is just Diana, use Cure over and over, repeatedly. That's my tactic. A lot of times I'll just have a white mage or a healer of sorts just chain heal, even if I don't need it. And the assumption there is that I could get attack like that blaze done to me, and the heal will come just following it. It's just one of the tactics that I use in JRPGs often. Chain healer. The rest of your characters can freely attack with whatever you want to attack with, as long as you're casting that Fira. And that's why 384. That'll singe some hairs. So this boss also cannot be defeated by this team. You actually win by losing, so don't get all disturbed if he casts his little spell. Here he's charging it up. Once he casts that on you, he's going to knock your HP lower than 10 for all your characters. They're all going to go into weak mode, and the fight will end. Soul Despair. Everybody got crippled. So that's winning. I can't remember which Final Fantasy it was, but back in the day I was playing one of the Final Fantasies, and there was an enemy that you weren't supposed to be able to beat. And I felt that I had come very close to beating him. And I reset the game like 2 or 3 times when the enemy would use his final move on me. But, you know, I'd been doing so good that I was like, no, I can beat this SOB. Well, come to find out that it was an impossible fight. So I always hate when they add that mechanic in the game, and it's because I'm too trigger happy. Like I'm just like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do this over again, and I'm gonna win this time. At least I'm persistent, if nothing else. And I'm not sure how I got out of that death loop. So here it's kind of showing all these. You know, that looks like the character from Final Fantasy 2 or 4. The doctor. What was his name? He had the Frankenstein robot too. I don't remember his name. But anyways, that kind of looked like him. And then it kind of looked like Rosa in the base where she got wrapped up with Golbez and Cain. Anyways, these characters are all probably, and I say probably because I haven't gotten there yet, probably going to be characters that are temporary allies in your team. Elgo, I'm pretty sure, is that way. I have seen part of the game. I haven't beaten this game yet. I should say that. So, disclaimer: I'm actually playing this game on 2 saves at the same time. What I'm doing is I'm going through the game, beating a few different dungeons, and then going back and recording the walkthrough of those dungeons. So I kind of get the lay of the land, how it works, the strategies involved, and then go back through it. I do kind of wander in some of the pieces to go back and get treasures. I'm trying to get 100% of the treasures. I may miss some. I love how these guys, they just like blow through the wall. Like the Hulk. With his green hair. Who's got green hair? That guy's got green hair. And someone with teal hair. So, this is the beginning to a Final Fantasy game, and you can tell because it's got a blue background and white text, and that is how you know you're playing a Final Fantasy game. You are looking at the trademark of Final Fantasy games. I remember the first one when it opened up like that. It was so awesome. Good old Ness. And they always say something mystical. So that's it. That's the end of the prologue, and that's the end of this piece of the walkthrough. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.